Gospel Reflection, March 29, 2022. My dear brothers and sisters, God as the living water are the best and the only hope. Ezekiel the prophet tells us about his own vision of the rivers of living water flowing from God's healing throne to bring healing and restoration to his own people in the first reading. The same thing we find in the Gospel of John, the evangelist who points out the Gospel account which takes place in Jerusalem during one of the great Jewish festivals. Bethsaida, the pool where Jews used to bring their sick relatives and friends for healing. John specifically tells us that multitudes of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed were brought to this pool. It is good to understand the background of the gospel so that it may help us to have a good reflection. The purpose of this dipping into the pool is purification, a ritual bath used for people before they went into the temple to offer prayers and sacrifices. Even the same thing we find in our own region as a traditional customs and regulations. The lame and those with diseases were dipped into the pool in the hope that they might be cured of their diseases. And in the gospel we see there was a paralytic or a man who was paralyzed for 38 years. He has complained that no one helped him to enter the pool. He had no friends. He had no relations. Even he had no hope. And he was in despair. As we know, many of us, when we don't have friends, when we don't have relations, when we are in despair, even we don't think about God, that who is always waiting for us. St. Francis de Sales would say, do not lose courage in considering your own imperfections. The imperfections of this paralytic was full of complaints. And again, what did the paralytic do? He approached Jesus in despair and full of complaints. What did Jesus do? Jesus gave him the prospect of help and total healing. The question of Jesus to the paralytic was, do you want me to make you well again? Other words, do you believe that I can make you well again? This particular question awakened a spark of faith and a ray of hope in him. And immediately Jesus gives him the command with his own authority. Get up and walk. And the paralytic who was paralyzed for 38 years immediately responds to Jesus with his own action. He stood up and walked freely. It means without someone's help is very important in our lives as well. Without someone's help when Jesus is with us. The question of Jesus is very important to us believers. Do you believe that I can make you well again? From the clutches of many addictions to social evils, Jesus is asking us every day. And again he gives us the command, get up, I am with you, walk freely. I am with you, I hold your hands. Walk freely. It would be a total transformation in our own life as well. And let us continue to respond positively with that action of Jesus Christ. Let us walk freely from our disordered affections and all that contrary to God's will, especially during this season of Lent. And St. Francis de Sales would assist us. Faith is like a bright ray of hope as sunlight. It enables us to see God in all things, as well as all things in God. May God bless you all.